It happened to me almost 5 years ago. Sometimes I wonder if it was just a dream or a fantasy, and if this story from my life was real. I was 18 years old at the time and had no definite plans, nor did I have any specific life plans, but my parents wanted something from me. They insisted that if I wasn't going to study, I should at least get a job and stop depending on them. I wandered aimlessly through various firms and organizations, where in the corridors I was evaluated by men with a tie around their necks and women with long legs. In every director's office or human resources department, I was asked the same thing: where do you see yourself in 5 years? Now, time later, I have an answer to that question. But back then, it literally stumped me. One of my friends advised me to imagine them all standing in front of me naked, and that would help with my nervousness. From then on, I began to imagine, hiding my shy gaze under the table, that it was these women, not me, who were suffering from embarrassment under the strict suits. However, I was not hired anywhere. Once I found myself in a small office far from the center and had an interview in the HR department. Once in the director's office, I was confronted by a woman in a strict suit. I was timid and tried my usual trick, but this time I failed to undress the director. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't imagine that underneath the dark gray suit was a live female body capable of erupting with passion. I couldn't imagine that a stern face could be adorned with an informal smile. This woman was barely in her 40s, though no one knew her age for sure. After the interview, I felt my stomach churning and my hands shaking. Nevertheless, I was accepted for the courier position. I can't say I was very happy about it. After all, I had to work every day under her cold gaze. But it would have been foolish to refuse. My parents asked me every day if I had found a job. Working as a courier from 8 in the morning to 5 in the evening left little time for evening leisure, but at the same time it brought in income and gave minutes for reflection during the day. I noticed that one could work in this firm quite comfortably. There was no strict dress code, and there was a friendly atmosphere at lunches. Employees often stayed in the office, settled down on a soft sofa, drank tea, coffee, and exchanged stories. Even vacations were spent together. The strict boss made sure that her employees had everything they needed, but never joined in the general fun. Colleagues respectfully called her chief. None of the staff ever said anything bad about her. I joined the friendly team and worked for 6 months without noticing. By the May holidays we started to learn that we were going to have a corporate party on the lake. To my question, who will go? The guys answered, everyone. And even our boss promised to join. This message piqued my interest. Is it possible that our strict chief has also decided to relax and spend time casually? I wonder if she will take off her strict suit on this day? We got on the bus and drove to the nearest lake, where a cozy recreation center was located on a quiet tennis shore. Someone had brought some music with them, and on the way we danced and planned how we would spend our time. My attention was drawn to the receptionist in a top and jeans that hugged her figure to her hips. She flipped her hair back with a laugh and looked at me through her lush lashes. The day promised to be pleasant, and the evening could be even better. Noticing the absence of our boss, I learned from one of the guys that she would be arriving later in her car as there was an urgent assignment at the office. We had a great time cooking kebabs by the water. The girls were playing badminton and their lush hair was fluttering in the spring wind. Light t-shirts fit their bodies well. No one dared to swim because of the cold water, but we often went down to the shore to soak our feet. Gradually the soft twilight came, and we built a fire and gathered around it. Some of us covered ourselves with plaid and some of us gave into the warmth of our faces and hands. Why was it so warm? It occurred to me why at night, by the light of the fire, everything seemed so simple and clear, as if we were back in ancient times. After a day of adventure and hunting, taking the secretary I had been grooming all day by the shoulders, I felt that she was not reluctant. Through the plaid I could feel her breath and her smooth skin burned with reciprocated desire. A car horn sounded in the distance, and we turned around at the sound. Someone said, "Did she really come?" After a while, our supervisor appeared at the campfire. She looked a little out of place in our relaxed company, still in her gray suit, her hair unraveled. Her appearance resembled the dull ghost of everyday labor invading a cheerful celebration. But the boys greeted her in a friendly manner, expressing their gratitude for the feast organized for us. The shadow of a smile touched the thin lips of the controller. She said, "Don't mind me. I'll just go sit by the water." "It's been a hard day," and strode off toward the shore. We sat for a while longer, drank, ate, sang a couple songs, but the fun gradually waned. My companion turned to me and asked me to go check on our boss. I started to hesitate, but everyone objected that we should take her some food and a plaid so she wouldn't get cold and feel lonely. With a bottle, a plate of kebab under my armpit, and a plaid on my shoulders, I headed towards the lake. In the middle of the lake, I could hear the splashing of water. Maybe fish were playing, or maybe a mermaid was swimming in the May water? Silly thoughts flashed through my head. As I approached the middle of the lake in the moonlight, I noticed a woman's body lying on her back and facing the moon. She was slowly moving her arms and legs as if immersed in her thoughts. The sight was like a dream. Leaving my things on the shore, I quickly undressed and entered the water. I was driven by a thirst for adventure and power. A chance like this comes along maybe once in a lifetime. One day I took a dip in the water and immediately regretted my spontaneous decision. The water was freezing cold. To warm up faster, I started paddling desperately and soon felt a rush of vigor. But a woman in the middle of the lake spotted me like a frightened fish. She dove into the water and swam quickly to the opposite shore. "You can't swim away from me," I decided with excitement. Not in vain in my childhood I was engaged in swimming and even received awards at competitions. Gaining speed, I could not catch up with the mermaid. She swam in the clear lake water like a torpedo, almost without making waves. I moved like a boat, leaving behind me splashes and splashes. We were almost to the opposite shore when suddenly the woman stopped and turned toward me. Her loose hair was thrown back and her white skin glistened like marble. In the moonlight, I couldn't make out her face. Stopping in hopes of stopping this foolish pursuit, I almost collided with her. She turned her face, and I suddenly recognized her. That was our strict supervisor. How could I have made such a mistake? I wanted to turn back, but I realized in time that she had seen me the whole time and, of course, thought I was a fool. I slowly walked over and began to apologize. She looked at me mockingly, but without a smile. At the end of her tirade, she asked why I was following her and what I needed. "I'm sorry, I'm really embarrassed. I wanted to meet you," I mumbled. "But I didn't realize it was you. Don't you want to meet me?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. It was only then that I noticed that her shoulders were strapless. Even so, she seemed buttoned up and completely unapproachable. "We've met," I replied stupidly. "But you don't recognize me now," she replied. Smiling, she turned and continued swimming to the other shore, emerging from the water in the silvery light of the moon, and I saw a strip of cloth crossing her back. I followed her, too, and a coarse shiver swept over us both. The shore was empty, only the mysterious sounds of the night and the whispering of the reeds broke the silence. As I approached her, without knowing what I was doing, I put my palms on her skinny shoulders. It was strange. I was just now realizing that the lack of clothes didn't make people equal, it just erased the boundaries a little. The woman lowered herself to the ground, pulled my hand, and we lay down, warm in each other's arms. We forgot the time, the place, the difference between us. I forgot the image of her in a strict suit with a neat hairdo, and she probably forgot the bum in worn jeans wandering around her department. I don't know how long it took, but we came to our senses. She threw herself silently into the dark lake and swam back out. I, recovering from my astonishment, followed her again, and soon we were on the shore. The woman dressed, pulled on her pants and threw a shirt over her shoulders. I, too, hastened to tidy up, bringing her plaid and food. The strict warden knelt down and took the kebab in her mouth. The kebab was delicious, though cold. We drank a little and laughed about our adventure. Nobody was looking for us. The merry company sang songs and danced around the fire. My secretary was probably already being hugged by someone else. "I'm really sorry about this," my boss said abruptly. "Today was a very difficult day, and I just wanted some joy. We won't be able to work together anymore. I'll reimburse you for your termination costs. And then, if you want, I'll recommend this firm to someone I know." Did I do something wrong? I asked resentfully. Or maybe wrong? Bitter sarcasm broke through my words. "What are you? I'm telling you, I'm sorry, it was my fault." I had nothing to object. I've seen how people hide themselves and the lengths people are willing to go to for it. My parents had gone through life without ever getting to know each other. Aren't all these string of people I've met along the way pretending to be each other? I play my parts, and maybe that's why it was so easy for me to imagine them without clothes, I thought. And maybe that's why I've never once been able to picture her like this. How would I look at her in the light of day now? And what would she see in my eyes? When dawn came, I walked her to her car without being offended or feeling used. After the weekend, I received my paycheck and was recommended to her acquaintance's firm. The new job had the same normal and friendly staff, but the atmosphere of togetherness, security, and unity I felt at my first job was unique. Our supervisor had a knack for making others feel comfortable, moving things along, and solving any problems. Unfortunately, she didn't give herself as much attention as others. Not even me. Sometimes when I think back on what happened, I repeat her name, which I didn't say when I worked beside her for 6 months. Joanna. I hope you're all right. I'm fine. Of course, I could have insisted on not leaving, but was there any point in opening the flowers with my hands? They wilt too quickly. 5 years later, I've changed a lot, and now I have a completely different life that I never dreamed of during the interview. That's for sure. It's amazing what a change can do in just one night. But sometimes I wonder if it was all just my imagination. If you like the stories on our channel, give it a thumbs up, be sure to subscribe to the channel and put a bell to be the first listeners of another new story. Good luck and come back, it will be interesting.